Today I'd like to present y'all with Chevrolet's latest entry into the factory-built awesome off-road truck market, the 2024 Chevy Colorado ZR2. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to that vlog channel. If you don't already know, my name is Andy, and today I'm on a full tour of this 2024 Chevy Colorado, inside and out. I'm going to show you what this thing's all about. We'll take it on a short test drive. Sadly, not on any off-road trails. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll be able to decide whether or not you really want one of these. A part of me kind of does. Let's get started.
Before we begin, I'd like to thank the folks at West Chevrolet of Alcoa, Tennessee for allowing me to use this vehicle for today's review. Once you're done watching, make sure you check them out at the link in the description below.
Now, although this particular truck is a 2024, it is worth noting that this body style Colorado did come out for the 2023 model year. And for the first part of this year, 24, it's been kind of difficult for Chevy to get these Colorados out on lots. They've been having some issues, but they're finally hitting dealerships now, and here I have one to show you. Now, this is not the first time that Chevrolet has made a ZR2 Colorado, but it may just be the coolest one that I've seen so far, although it is not the absolute coolest one that they're going to have. I'll explain that a little bit later. All right, we're going to start the tour of this new Colorado here on the outside like I usually do in my reviews, and if it gets a little windy, I do apologize. It's March, almost springtime here in East Tennessee, and it usually gets kind of windy, but I'm not going to wait for a non-windy day to review this truck, so let's go. First of all, taking a broad look at the front end, I do like the way this looks. It looks really aggressive. It looks really good. It looks tough. Zooming in a bit here, we got our headlights here. You got LED headlights. Unfortunately, you get incandescent turn signal bulbs. Not going to knock it too hard for that because it's still good looking. Down from that, you got a nice ZR2 badge right here on the grill. And right here in the middle, instead of the Chevy bow tie, you got the flow tie outlined in red, letting even more air into that radiator than it would with a traditional Chevy badge. I do like that. It's kind of cool. Down here on the bottom, you got your fog lights that are kind of inset more from the sides than on most trucks. And you got your red recovery hooks down here. Looks really, really nice. Look here in the grill, you got a front-facing camera. We'll take a look at that on the inside here in a little bit. Up here on the hood, big hood bulge right up here, because that's what you got to do to make a truck look tough. Coming down low on the Colorado, you can see this bumper is definitely not the same as your standard four-wheel drive. It has been upgraded to give you a better approach angle and a much better view of those mud terrain tires as well. Coming down even lower up front, you see you've got a factory front skid plate right here. And you see right here, they've also given you a transfer case shield. Up here on the side of the headlights, you're gonna see they made sure to put that Chevy logo right there in the side of the headlight, because of course they did. Coming down the side of the truck, the first thing that's gonna jump out at you is these big factory 33-inch Goodyear Wrangler Territory mud terrain tires mounted to these 17-inch aluminum wheels. These are the standard wheel option for your Colorado ZR2. They are the graphite with oxide gold. I really do like the way these look. They do look really good. And you can see they made sure to put ZR2 down here on one of the spokes just to make sure you know that's a ZR2 wheel. As we make our way down the side here, you're going to see factory rock rails on your new Colorado ZR2. Here we have the optional removable off-road assist steps. These are nice if you're a little short, have trouble getting into a lifted truck. These are removable. These are a $995 option. Although if you can get away with not including these, I would, because, you know, steps always take away a little bit of ground clearance, and you want as much as you can get if you're going over the big obstacles, right? As far as suspension is concerned, you do have upgraded tougher control arms up here in the front, because you know it's got to be able to take the rough stuff, right? And of course, front and back, you have the upgraded shocks with the Multimatic DSSV dampers, because of course, it's an off-road truck, right? In addition to all this, you do have a factory 3-inch lift over your standard four-wheel drive Colorado. All combined, it gives you a total of 10.7 inches of ground clearance overall. Coming around back, your ZR2 does get upgraded a different bumper than your regular Colorado four-wheel drive, because of course, you got to improve that departure angle, just like you got to improve the approach angle with that upgraded front bumper. Of course, you got your tow hitch right here with your 4-pin and your 7-pin connectors. Your ZR2 trim of your Colorado can tow up to 6,000 pounds. Stepping back, you look at these taillights, you can definitely tell what I mean by it being somewhat of a baby Silverado. You can see that kind of Silverado taillight shape going on right there, like in the ZR2 sticker right there in front of them. Here at your tailgate, you do have your rear view camera right here. The tailgate is locking. It is not a power tailgate. It doesn't even have a power release. You actually do have to pull a handle right here, but hey, that's pretty cool. Check out the top of the tailgate right here. You got kind of a mountain pattern going on. That's kind of neat. When we pull this thing all the way down, first of all, you can see this is bed lined. It looks really nice. Now, you don't have much back here in the back compared to your full-size Chevrolets, but you do still have a little bit. You get some nice factory tie-down hooks right there, front and back. You also get a 120-volt household type outlet right there. ZR2 stamped in the middle of the bed right there up front. Looks really good. And we're going to make our way back to the tailgate, because Chevy put something kind of cool in the Colorado's tailgate. Look at these right here, these little lever deals right here. We're going to flip these to the side and open up this section of the tailgate. And here you see you actually have an in tailgate storage area right here. Chevy calls this the Stowflex storage area. Stowflex. And you see these little slots right here across the storage compartment. Those are actually for dividers you can buy so you can divide your storage cargo up however you want. Pretty cool. Put that back down, flip those levers back towards the middle, and it's all locked up. You also got a ruler integrated into the tailgate right here so you can show your buddies just exactly how big that fish was, right? All right, time to climb on in the interior and out of the wind. Holy moly, it's crazy out here today. Looking here at your door card, you got this nice, it almost looks like leather material, but it's definitely not. Chevy calls this Artemis. It looks nice. You got this nice gray color right here with this contrasted yellow stitching. You can probably see it a little bit better here on the seat considering the lighting I'm in. It looks nice. Other from that, you got your normal power controls like power windows, auto up and down for the driver's side, power mirrors, power locks, and your seat memory settings right there. Nothing real special about any of that. A little bit of storage down here in the door. Small pocket right here for loose stuff, I guess. And this one here, I guess, is a bottle holder. Not a lot of storage in the door, though. Turning towards the seats, these are your 8-way power adjustable seats right here. So once again, you got that Artemis gray with that yellow stitching right there. And they are perforated because these seats are heated and cooled. I'm kind of disappointed that there's not as big ZR2 stitching in the headrest or in the seat back right here. That's kind of something that a lot of automakers, even Chevrolet, does with the cool version of stuff. Kind of disappointed they don't have that. Oh well, it doesn't matter that much. Making our way across the dash, we're gonna start here at the climate vents. I kind of like these. First of all, you got these circular vents. You gotta twist them to open them. Kind of like the way that looks. That's kind of cool. You got this kind of almost camo pattern on the vent surround. That's a neat little touch right there. Give you a little bit more cool. Not much down below that. Here's your gauge brightness control and your integrated trailer brake controller down there. Looking at your steering wheel, it doesn't have a whole lot of controls, but it does have enough. You got the controls for your adaptive cruise on the left. And over here on the right, you just got a few buttons. So right here, you got your heated steering wheel. Right here, your finger trip, voice controls, audio selections, phone, and this adjusts your 11-inch gauge cluster screen that we'll go into more detail about here in a minute. Now what you're looking at here are not the only controls that you have on the steering wheel. If we make our way around to the back side of the wheel, see right here you got some fingertip controls for your volume. You got some on the other side that are going to just audio track and presets and that kind of thing. Now looking right here on the steering column, you've got this stalk right here for your turn signals and for your wipers, but I don't know if you noticed, there's no headlight controls anywhere on the dash. That's because Chevy has chosen to do something kind of interesting with the new Colorado. And that is they've integrated the headlight controls into the top of the infotainment screen right here. Tap this right here and here's your headlight controls. You got them on auto, you can just turn them off, you can turn them on, or just have your parking lights, your marker lights, that kind of thing. I'm gonna put them back on auto. A lot of people may not like this, and when I first saw it, I kind of thought it was stupid, and then I stopped and I thought, you know, in modern cars, you have auto headlights on most of them. Most of us are going to run the auto headlight, so we're not going to touch the headlight controls all that much. So I mean, I guess I don't mind it considering how little you're going to actually touch the headlight controls in a modern car, but the other half of me still wishes it was a physical control. It is what it is though. Make your way across, start stop button, nothing special there. 11.3 inch infotainment screen. Again, we'll touch on that in a moment. Now we will start out by looking right below the infotainment screen at your climate controls, and I love that Chevy is still giving us a full array of physical climate controls instead of making it all integrated into the screen. So what we've got here is pretty much your typical array of climate controls. You got your auto and defrost right here. Your fan speed buttons are right here, up and down, just a couple of buttons. Regular stuff right here. You do have your heated and cooled seats for both the driver and passenger. That's a really nice thing to have, positioning right here. Dual zone climate control knobs right here to adjust those temperatures. It's laid out nicely, it looks nice, and it's not in the screen. I love that. Down below that is where you're going to see your climate vents. They're kind of slim. They're integrated nicely. I do like the way they look. And down below that, you got this series of piano keys, which are really cool. Here's a button for your rear locking differential. Here's a button to lock your front and rear differentials at the same time. Auto start button, we're going to turn that crap off. Hazards, lane keep assist. You have an auxiliary switch here, which as far as I can tell is kind of like the fitter switches in your Ford trucks, except you just get one of them right here, so you can wire in a light bar or whatever. And your last button here is the best one on the dash, my favorite, the one that lowers all four windows at the same time. Check it out. Now that's cool. The only downside of this, and something that I hope Chevy will fix in the future, is for you to have the ability to flip it back the other way and put them all four up at the same time. For now, you do have to come over here and use the four switches to roll all four windows up independently of each other. Come on, Chevy. Make that an up button as well, and that will be perfect. perfect. Below that, here's your USB charging, USB A and C, and a wireless charging pad right here. And you can see it's got that camo pattern on it too. Kind of cool. Back from that, you got your switch for your four-wheel drive controller. Just rocks forward and backward, left and right. So just select auto or two-wheel or four-wheel drive. And then you see the knob around that. That is your drive mode selector. So if you go up here to the infotainment screen, you see here we're in normal mode, and then you've got off-road mode, tow haul mode, terrain mode, and Baja mode. So 5 drive modes in this thing for normal driving or for off-road driving. Electronic parking brake, unfortunately, but that's where cars are going nowadays. Here's your automatic shift selector. Nothing special in this one. It's just a forward and back operation right there. You get your dual cup holders right here with that camo pattern in the bottom of again, and a slot to stick your cell phone in. Back from that, here's your center console. It's got that Artemis with the yellow stitching once again. Open that up. It's not exactly huge. You got a storage tray right here. It's deep enough to put some stuff in, and you do have a 12-volt round port right there. Close that lid, and back here is 2 more cup holders with your camo pattern and another cell phone slot. Over here on the passenger side, you got the camo pattern here on this inlay. Looks really cool with the ZR2 badge on top of that. And you got another vent over here, that circular vent with that camo surround. Down from that, you got your glove box. Nothing special here, typical glove box. It's big enough, not too big, not too small, just right. Looking up at a rear view mirror, this is your standard rear view mirror. Unfortunately, we don't have the digital rear view mirror camera thing in here, which is one of the coolest modern things Chevy's done on their vehicles. I wish we had it in this truck, but at least it's a mid-sized truck, so, you know, there's that. Up from that, nothing else all that special. You got your dome light controls, all that good stuff. Vanity mirrors right here with your lights that come on when you open the mirror. One thing I'm not seeing up here is a sunroof, and I could not see anywhere on the website where that is an option. If it is, I missed it. And we'll take a quick glance back down here at the dash where you see this Bose badge right here. This truck does have the Bose 7-speaker premium audio system, and I've played with the Chevy Bose system a couple of times in other trucks, and I do definitely like the way it sounds. It's a good sounding system. And in between that and the screen, there's a little storage tray. You can throw stuff in if you want to, and although you'll never be able to see it from the seats, it still has that camo pattern in it. Climbing into the back of the new Colorado, checking out the styling back here, you can see they did it right and made sure that the rear matches the front. I love when automakers include the rear with the front styling as well. They don't leave the back seats out. Now this definitely does not have the most space in the world. I'll show you what that looks like in a second with me sitting in it. But first we're gonna look at the back overall. Now you got these seats back here. You can see they look just like the fronts of the Artemis, and the yellow stitching looks really nice. Headrest flops down if you need it to for better visibility. And the seat does come up. We pull the lever right here and lift up on the seat. You're gonna see you do get a little bit of under seat storage right here. The majority of it's actually gonna be taken up by your jack and your tire tools, that kind of thing. But you do still have a little bit down here if you wanna hide something from, you know, outside view. Pull that lever again and we'll just put that thing right back down. Your Colorado does not have the seat back storage cubbies like on the Silverados and the HDs. But you do get a center armrest with cup holders. Nice. Back here, the second row does not have a separate climate zone, but it does have climate vents. You also have USB type A and C charging ports and 120 volt house type plug right there. You also get storage pockets on both front seats. Very nice. Otherwise, nothing up on the ceiling to look at. You do have the sliding rear window, but on your Colorado, it is going to be manual, unlike the larger trucks where it is power. Okay, let's climb on into the rear now. Very awkwardly. I don't know why I did it so awkwardly. And talk about how I fit. So this driver's seat is pretty much set up for me to be comfortable driving, someone who's just a hair over 6 feet tall. And this is how I look sitting back here. Now, this is not horrendously uncomfortable. It's not as bad as it looks. However, I would still recommend that if you're tall, your driver be short, or you sit behind a short passenger, or you be the driver. If you're any taller than this, it's definitely not going to feel good whatsoever. If you're a tall driver, put your short friends and your kids back here, you'll be just fine. You can drive 4 full-size adults around in this thing for a period of time, but I wouldn't take 4 full-size tall adults on a cross-country road trip in this thing. Headroom it's okay. I can get my hand in between my head right here. This is a mid-size truck, not a full-size, so you do have to adjust your rear seat expectations accordingly in this case. The child lock is on. Great. Yeah. Slide to the right. How windy is it out here today? That windy. All right, jumping back up front now to talk about the 11-inch digital gauge cluster screen you get in your new Colorado. And this is especially cool in your ZR2. So right here's the first screen. You got your traditional layout with your tachometer over here, your speedometer on the right, a couple of smaller gauges kind of laid out along the bottom. So you got your driver assist information right there in the center. There's your following gap for your adaptive cruise control. You can just change that with a switch on the wheel. Now I want to focus on this particular button right here on the wheel because this is what you're going to use to switch between the different screen layouts. So now we're on this screen. Let's go ahead and push this button here. It's going to take you to this nice calm screen right here. It doesn't have very much on. It's got your speedometer and a few things you're really going to need to know. Press it again, and now we get more of a sporty screen with a central tachometer and speedometer. Get a little bit of trip information over there, audio information over here. Kind of condensed gauges down there. Looks really good. Hit that button again. You get your traditional gauge layout again, but now in the center you get your trip information and things like that. Hit it one more time, and here you get a full screen Google map. I recently complained in one of my videos that it may go up before or after this one, I'm not really sure, that Chevy was not putting a full screen map in their full digital screen in the full size trucks. But here it is in the 2024 Chevy Colorado, and now I hope that they'll eventually migrate this into the full size trucks and pretty much all of their vehicles that they put a gauge cluster screen in, because this is what we need to be doing. Hit that button one more time. Gonna take you to this really sporty looking screen right here. Now you got your horizontal tachometer right there. You got a little bit of G meter right here off to the side. Some important gauges right here like trans temp, coolant temp, that kind of thing. We're gonna hit this button one more time. And now here you're in the coolest gauge screen layout that there is. So starting over the left, of course, you got your pitch and roll and your tilt, things like that right here on this side. Got your compass right here, trans temp, coolant temp, speedometer there. Of course, you got all your information still down on the bottom. And over here on the right, you got your four-wheel drive information. So down here is going to tell you what mode your transfer case is in. We'll change that to 4 low. Above that, you see your steering angle. And look, as I turn the steering wheel, the tires in the image turn as well. And the other cool thing you're going to see on the image of that truck right there is if I hit the button to lock both of the differentials, they're locked. Unlock them, and the image is unlocked too. Let's put that thing back in 4 auto. That's really cool. I love this layout of the gauge cluster because if you're a serious off-roader, you want this information right there in front of your face as you're taking on the trails. Here you've got it. Good job, Chevy. And now let's look at our 11.3-inch infotainment screen in the front of our new Colorado ZR2. Now right here we are on the home screen right now. It's got all your different app icons and whatnot on here. So you got your Google Assistant, Google Play Store, Android Auto, and Apple CarPlay all right here in the system. Amazon Alexa, got Amazon Podcast, Google News, all that good stuff. Of course, you got your maps, your audio, lots of good stuff in here. Let's tap on this camera icon right here. It's going to take us into our different camera views. So right now we are looking at the front of the truck. You got a top-down view here and your front-facing camera. Tap right here. It's going to switch over to a rear view, looking at the back of the truck. Another top-down again. And look, there's my tripod on the ground behind the truck. Tap over here. Now you got a top-down view looking just at the nose of the truck, then one looking just at the bed of the truck. Tap right here, you know you're looking down the sides right at both front wheels. Tap it again, now you're looking down the side at the back wheels, and that is the grainiest image on the entire thing. I really don't care for that too much. Tap right here to tell whether or not you want to have that top-down view on there or not. You can take it off or put it back on. You do got a climate icon right here. If you want to control the climate controls in the screen, you can, but there's really no need for it because you got the physical controls right here, which we all know is the better option. Look over here on the side, you got an array of icons over here. Here's the one that's going to get you into, of course, your media selections, AM, FM, Sirius, Alexa, Bluetooth, all that good stuff. This one right here, of course, is going to bring up your navigation map. You do have Google Maps. Let's clear all this stuff off the screen. All right, there we go. Now you got the full map on here, and it's actually very responsive. I do like how responsive this thing is. It's a nice looking Google map. Up here, of course, where you're going to set up your cell phone. Up here in this corner, you got this icon right here. Tap that, and you can see here you've got even more controls that Chevy has decided to remove from the dash and put into the screen. So here you've got your power window lockout. Got that there instead of a switch on the door. Traction control, auto high beams, front fog lights, and hill descent control are all now controls in the screen instead of physical buttons on the dash. Close out of that. Click right down here on this icon, and now you got kind of the split screen view where you can have two different things on here at the same time. Here's the maps. You can put something else over here. Hit this pencil icon. You can tell it what you want. You got audio right now. Maybe you want your trip information, Google Assistant, whatever. Save it or cancel. You can do the same thing over here. Tell it what you want to see in that square as well. So kind of a nice configurable split screen view. Definitely like that in there as well. Let's go back to home real quick. Swipe over here and go to off-road. And this is where your infotainment screen is going to get really cool, the off-road menus. It starts out here in Baja mode, and you see here you got your G meter for lateral G's and of course front to back. Here's that top-down four-wheel drive kind of status deal that we just saw in the gauge cluster screen. And look, you've even got latitude and longitude right here on the screen. It'll also tell you what driver mode you're in at any given time, as well as, I'm assuming, how far above sea level you're sitting. Go over here to terrain mode. Here you got that kind of half globe shaped pitch and roll display that you had in the gauge cluster a minute ago. And here, of course, is your tire pressure monitoring system. And of course, go over here to the overlanding tab and you got your compass and whatever that is. Sorry, I'm not a big off-roader, so forgive me if I don't really know what I'm seeing here. Now, I want to go back to the home screen right now because there's one other thing we got to show you right here, and that is air down mode. You're going to click on that, and you're going to set a target tire pressure. So anybody who's into off-roading at all knows that if you're going to go and do anything intense, going to crawl over rocks, you want to lower your tire pressure. What's cool about this, you can set any target tire pressure you want, and then go outside and deflate the tires. And as you deflate each tire, once you hit your target pressure, the horn will honk at you to let you know, hey, you're there, move on to the next tire. Aside from the specifics, overall, I definitely like this screen. It's big, it's vivid, it's easy to use, it's pretty intuitive, and it's very responsive, and it's got a lot of cool features, especially ones made for the off-road version of your Colorado. Now, of course, you can't talk about a truck like this without talking about pricing. So what is a truck like this going to cost you? Well, you see right here, you got a starting price of $46,800. Then you're going to add in options like this one's got the ZR2 convenience package, almost $1,500. That's got a lot of cool features on it. You got your assist steps that I showed you earlier, that $995 option. Your take package with the HD surround vision system, and of course the adaptive cruise, going to be $950. Your premium auto system adds $500, and of course you got to add the Chevy Performance Black exhaust tip at $225. All in, as this one is spec'd at this dealer at this time, you got a total price of about $52,500. So if you go all out with this thing, as you probably should if you're a serious off-roader that also values comfort, that's about what you're going to pay for one of these. All right, time to get up underneath the hood of this beast and see what's powering it. And because I know how the internet is, I'll just throw it out there right now. Yes, I have it up on my phone because I have a terrible memory. So here we go. Now, before I dive into the engine, I do want to mention something I did forget to mention a second ago, and that is that all your new Colorados, regardless of the trim you get, are only going to be offered as a four-door crew cab. No more cab and a half or extended cab, as you might call it. No more single cabs. The only thing you're going to get is four-door crew cab trucks. All right, onto the powertrain. So we're not going to start here at the ZR2. We're actually going to start down lower than that at the base model, because all of your Colorados are going to come with a 2.7 turbocharged four-cylinder. Now, on your base model Colorados, that's going to make 240 horsepower. You step up to your upper models, such as this one right here, the ZR2 and the upcoming ZR2 Bison. This version of the 2.7 going to be tuned a bit differently, have a bit more boost. 310 horsepower, 430 pound-feet of torque. Chevy calls this the Turbo Max. And if that displacement and those power figures sound familiar, that's because this is the exact same 2.7 liter four-cylinder engine that Chevy also offers in the full-size Silverado 1500s. Now, I just so happen to have tested out one of those four-cylinder Silverados on the channel, and while I thought it was a decent engine, it had plenty of power to pull the truck around, it is still my personal opinion that that is not the truck for this engine. You want that in a mid-size. Now, regardless of which version of this 2.7 you get, you are getting an 8-speed automatic transmission. As far as 0 to 60 time, Car and Driver did manage to test theirs to right around 7.1 seconds or so. Fuel economy is not going to be amazing. Remember, this is a factory-built, lifted off-road truck. 17 miles to the gallon city, 19 highway. Now, your standard four-wheel drive Colorado is going to get a little bit better, 19 city, 23 highway. But still, it's a four-wheel drive mid-size truck, especially on a trim like this where you got all those off-road components, those big mud terrain tires. You don't buy this truck for fuel economy. As far as towing is concerned, if you get the base Colorados with the base engine, you're looking at about 3,500 pounds. Now, if you step up to your non-ZR2 trims that have this Turbo Max, you can get up to 7,000 pounds. And like I said before, your ZR2, you're gonna get a little bit less because of all those extra off-road components, 6,000 pounds max tow for your ZR2. All right, now I've climbed back inside the cab of the truck now where it's less windy and well, it's less windy. This is a very windy day. And I want to talk to you guys about the upcoming Bison edition of the ZR2 Colorado. Now, this will not be the first time that Chevy has made a Bison edition of the Colorado. They did that on the previous generation as well, and they currently do that on the Silverado. And instead of the crappy version that I shot sitting in the front of the truck, I decided I'd get on the computer here, get get some screenshots going to show you guys all about the ZR2 Bison. Now, I did mistakenly say earlier in the video that the Bison is an upcoming edition of the ZR2 Colorado. It does appear that it is actually a current package that you can add on to make your ZR2 a Bison. So this package is going to cost you $11,700. It's going to get you a bunch of upgrades. So let's click on that and see what those are. And please excuse this thing here. I got to figure out what that is. Now you're going to see this word right here, AEV, these letters right here, mentioned a lot. AEV stands for American Expedition Vehicles, and they are a company that specializes in building specialty off-road vehicles such as this. Chevrolet partners with AEV to build the Bison editions of the Colorado and the Silverado. Now let's go ahead and jump into this. And in the interior, you're not getting very much. You're getting upgraded all-weather floor liners with the AEV logo for ease of clean out once you get the interior dirty. The rest of your upgrades take place outside. Now, your standard truck, your standard ZR2 already comes with a front skid plate and a transfer case shield. However, you're getting upgraded shielding on the ZR2 Bison. So you're going to get AEV stamped steel transfer case skid plate, as well as a skid plate for your fuel tank and your rear differential, as well as an upgraded front skid plate. Tires, you get upgraded 35-inch mud terrain tires rather than the 33s you get on your standard ZR2. They're mounted on the 17-inch beadlock capable wheels with the AEV logo stamped on the center caps. You're probably not going to see that very well, but it is there. You're also going to get this bed-mounted vertical spare tire carrier to make it a bit easier to get to that spare tire when you are on the trails than it would be if it was mounted under the bed. Let's jump over to here where I've downloaded some pictures of the truck. There's that thing again. Now, we talked about on the standard ZR2 how you get these Multimatic DSS feed dampers on these shocks right here. Now, you still get those on your Bison edition, but you're also going to get, in addition to that, these Multimatic jounce control dampers right here. Back up from that, here's a front view. You're also going to get those up front. You got your DSS feeds right here and your jounce controls right there. You're also going to get some upgraded bumpers on your AEV Bison as well. Check out that vertical spare tire carrier poking out above the bed right there, and here you can get a glimpse of the AEV logos you get on the back of the truck as well. Moving that around, here's the upgraded rear steel bumper you're going to get on your Bison edition with the built-in recovery points right there. And let's jump out of there and go to the front. You do get an upgraded bumper on the front as well. AEV logo stamped here where the front plate goes. And check out the view down the underside of the truck right here with all that skid plating to protect all those key components that you could risk causing serious damage to out on the trails, taking on tricky obstacles and whatnot. Nice red recovery points sticking out right here. So if you get stuck, you can get pulled out, or who knows, maybe you can pull somebody else out with this thing.
All right, so that's going to do it for the tour of the new Colorado ZR2. Now it's time for the best part. Let's go take this baby for a spin. All right, let's get out here and drive this brand new Colorado ZR2. And the first thing I got to say about this thing is the noise level. So I'm sure you can hear, even under light acceleration, you're gonna hear that 2.7 liter four cylinder. One, that's just the nature of four cylinders. Two, it's a truck. But you're definitely gonna hear that four cylinder engine up there. Now, it may not come through on camera very well, but if you listen carefully while driving, you can definitely hear that turbo spool up. The other noise factor to consider in this truck is tire noise. Now, I'm not going to say that it's unbearably loud, because it's not. However, it is there and you are going to hear it. You turn the radio on up to a decent volume, you probably drown it out pretty easily. It's not so intense that you're not going to be able to stand it. You could drive this thing on a road trip and probably handle the tire noise very well. But do adjust your expectations if you're considering buying a truck like this, because it does have those 33-inch mud terrain tires on it from the factory, and naturally those are going to make some noise. As far as power, this thing's got plenty of pickup to it. I mean, that 2.7 turbo max, that's a decent engine, at least as far as I can tell from my limited experience with it. It's a decent enough engine for the Silverado, maybe with basic use, not necessarily heavy towing. This being a lighter vehicle than the Silverado, it's going to do a little bit better. Now, Car and Driver did say they tested a 0 to 60 of the low 7s. We're talking about 7.1, 7.2, something like that. We'll see how she does, but not too hard, because this thing is very low miles. Very, very low miles indeed. I mean, yeah, it does pretty good. Obviously 7 seconds isn't, you know, lighting the world on fire or anything, but it does pretty well. It'll get you up to speed, it'll pass cars, it'll do everything you need it to do. It's not a slouch, and it's got plenty of power for any obstacles you're going to find out on the trails. I mean, it's got what you need. As far as comfort, it's not too bad in here. The seats have some, they're not heavily bolstered, but they're decently bolstered. They'll hold you in well enough for going over some obstacles. They're not too bad. The suspension, it's not the softest thing in the world, but it could be much harsher. It is, of course, off-road tuned, so that's going to help you out a little bit with suspension softness, but still, you got to keep in mind you are in a mid-sized truck, and you are going to feel things. Right here up ahead of us, we got a pothole that's been patched, and you feel it, but it's not harsh. It feels reasonable. I don't know exactly the best way to say that, but it's not harsh. You get this thing up on a smooth highway, you're not going to have a problem driving this thing long distances. As far as visibility is concerned, it's as good as you're going to get in a mid-size pickup truck. That being said, of course, you got the typical view out the rear with the headrest in the way, because this doesn't have the digital rear view camera. Side visibility is decent, and of course you've got good front visibility, and you're looking out over kind of a cool looking hood, so it's definitely a nice view out the front of this truck. The interior, I do actually really like the interior of this truck. No, it's not high luxury, but that's not what it's supposed to be. It's got a decently rugged look to it. It's got fairly nice materials for the class of vehicle that this is, and it's got some pretty cool touches in here. I do definitely like the camo patterns on a lot of the interior pieces. That's a nice touch. I will also note the transmission feels good. It seems to shift really nice and smooth like. Nothing harsh. You really don't feel the shifts at all, which is kind of what you expect out of modern transmission, but definitely worth noting with this truck. I take that back. You can feel it somewhat, but it's acceptable. It's very, very acceptable. And like I said, it's nice, smooth power delivery. Yeah, I really like this truck. So overall impressions driving the new Colorado ZR2. I really like this thing, and I think it is a great option to put on your shopping list, if that shopping list is for factory built mid-size off-road pickup trucks, because this thing is pretty cool. I like the tech. I really love the screens in this thing. I love that Chevy did finally start to give us the full screen map in the gauge cluster. This has got a lot of great off-road tech in both screens. And of course, you get those factory 33s and those Multimatic DSSV dampers. And it looks good in here too. The black camo texture, yeah, it might be kind of gimmicky or whatever. I like it. I think it adds just another small level of cool to the inside of this truck. It steers easy, it drives easy. I like this thing. And like I said, if you can put up with a minor amount of tire noise from those 33-inch mud terrains, this is a great, great option. Now, I don't know firsthand how to compare this thing to other factory-built off-road mid-size pickup trucks like a Tacoma TRD Pro or a Nissan Frontier Pro 4X or the Ford Ranger Raptor, because I've not had the opportunity to get inside any of those. But hopefully one day I will be able to get inside of those and maybe make a comparison. So there you have it, y'all. That's the 2024 Chevy Colorado ZR2. Like I said 1,000 times, I like this truck. This thing is cool. And in the world of factory-built mid-size off-road pickup trucks, I think this thing definitely makes a statement, leaves its mark, and it definitely brings a lot of cool to that segment of the automotive market. And I know I've said it a lot that this thing is cool, but let's face it, whether you're a Chevy person or not, you have to admit this thing's cool. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this review as much as I enjoyed making it. If you did, you want to see more reviews from me, make sure to go back to the channel, watch the rest of my reviews, and if you like what you see on the channel, consider subscribing to it, share the videos with friends, family, fellow car lovers. Once again, huge special thanks to the folks at West Chevrolet of Alcoa, Tennessee for allowing me to use this amazing truck for today's review. Once you're done checking out my content, make sure you click that link in the description box below to go to their website. Once again, y'all, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.